today's knitting podcast. In today's episode, I thought that we would talk about a new series that I want to do for the summertime. This series is going to be all about summer tops that I am knitting. So I will do a pattern review and possibly a yarn review for the individual things that I make. In this podcast episode, we are going to talk about Maker Maker's Tip Top Tank. This is a free pattern, and I have made lots of notes because I don't want to forget to tell you guys anything about this one. So if that sounds interesting to you, grab your knitting, grab your crochet, grab a cup of something, and let's get into the content. Okay, so why did I choose this pattern? I chose this pattern because I had decided a few weeks ago that I wanted to only wear tops this summer that I had made by hand. I didn't want to go to Walmart or to Target and buy some because then next year I'm just going to have to do the same thing. And here in Florida, we tend to have to wear tank tops and short sleeve shirts normally about 9 months out of the year because it's really hot. In fact, right now we're already having like 97-degree weather with a feels like of 102. So needless to say, we need shirts. I started with the Maker Maker Tip Top Tank, and this is a free pattern that was published on Ravelry in April of 2022. It was designed by Emily Bolden. It has been knit 863 times as of the recording of this video. It is knit from the bottom up. This free pattern does come with 2 expansions. One of them is for bow ties. I'll put an insert right here for it, so that you can do tassels with ties on the shoulders if you prefer that. And then it has another addition to the pattern, which is the pattern knit in fine or fingering weight yarn if that's what you would prefer. This pattern in particular is knit in DK weight yarn, and I would list this as a difficulty of an advanced beginner, but I'm going to tell you how to make it beginner friendly because that's what I did for this one. Okay, so the yarn that is recommended for this pattern is a sport weight yarn, and for the fiber content, they recommend cotton, bamboo, silk blends, linen blends, or viscose. It's not really a pattern that you want to use your merino wool for. Any sport weight yarn will definitely work for this pattern. It is knit on US size 4 knitting needles, which are 3.5 millimeters, and it is knit on US size 3, which is the 3.25 millimeters. You will need a long cable for the number of stitches that you have to cast on, whether you choose to do the pattern the way that is written for an advanced beginner or use the modifications that I'm going to suggest in this video to make it beginner friendly. So the skills that you will need, or that you'll learn if this is your first garment that you've ever made, you will need to know how to knit, purl, slip, how to make ribbing, knit 2 together, and the SSK, otherwise known as left and right leaning decreases, and you will need to do the 3 needle bind off. But don't panic. The 3 needle bind off is super easy, and it produces a really neat effect on the inside as well as the outside of the garment, which is what I chose to do because it's supposed to be on the inside, and I chose to do mine on the outside, as I'll show you. So why do I list this pattern as an advanced beginner? You start off this pattern by casting on the number of stitches that you need based on your size. So you look up the pattern, you measure your circumference at the widest part, which is around your bust, and then based on that, it tells you how many centimeters, and based on the number of centimeters, tells you what size that you need to make. So for me, I needed to make the size medium. So that meant that I needed to cast on 91 stitches, do my ribbing, go get another cable, cast on another 91 stitches, and then join that in the round because the pattern has a split hem. So for that reason, I thought that this would be an advanced beginner pattern. The other reason that I listed this as an advanced beginner pattern is when you're trying, this is the front, when you're trying to do your back pieces and you're trying to figure out which is your left back and which is your right back, it's a little confusing, especially if you're somebody like me. I'm left-handed, so I knit everything the opposite direction. So it took me a minute. I'm just saying. So for those two reasons, I listed as an advanced beginner. However, if you can make it past the whole trying to figure out which is the left and which is the right for your back, here's how you can make this a beginner-friendly pattern. Figure out what size you need and then cast on the total number of stitches that you're going to need for your size. So in my case, I needed to cast on 91 stitches for the front and then 91 stitches for the back and then join it in the round. So I just went ahead and cast on the 182 stitches and went from there. That's how you can make this a beginner-friendly pattern. Okay, let's talk about yarn. I used Purl Soho's, I'm all tangled. I used Purl Soho's Cotton Pure in the colorway Peach Peony. And this is what it looks like when it's all caked up. I used 2 skeins to make mine, which was a total of 558 yards or 200 grams. Cotton Pure from Purl Soho is a certified organic 100% cotton yarn with a gauge of roughly 5.5 to 6.0 stitches per inch. Each skein has 275 yards or 225 meters. It's washer dryer friendly, which is a huge plus for me because I don't necessarily want to have to go around hanging all of my knits up every single time I make something. I already have to do that with my socks. I don't want to have to do it with my shirts as well. So that was a huge win for me. I really enjoyed knitting with the yarn. The fabric came out really nice. It has a beautiful drape and the stitch definition is really good. I'll insert some close-ups up here for you guys so that you guys can get a really good look at the stitch definition. I will show you some images of the stitches before the garment was blocked as well as after, so you guys can kind of compare before and after and see what the stitch definition is like. I was really worried that my stitches were going to be uneven when I was knitting this garment because the yarn did twist a lot when I was knitting, and I ended up a few times having to hold my knitting up and let it do the twirly thing. But once it blocked, the stitches all relaxed and everything turned out really uniform, and I will definitely be using this yarn again. Let's see. Okay. So for my version of the pattern, I modified it very slightly, as I said before. I did not do the split hem, and this top also is meant to be cropped. And I don't wear cropped tops. So I added 1 inch to the body. I think it was supposed to be 29 centimeters for my size, and I think it was 29 centimeters, and I added just 1 inch to it to make it slightly longer, but it wasn't enough, which is why Rebecca is wearing the shirt instead of me. After this video, I'm going to lengthen her, or lengthen the shirt, not Rebecca. Let's see, I knit this top in the size medium, and I cast it on April 20th, and I finished it on May 11th and blocked it on May 12th. It's not that it takes a long time to knit. I'm just not a monogamous knitter. At the time, I was working on like several pairs of socks at the same time. That's the only reason that it took that long. So if you were just working on just this project, I think that you could probably finish it in a week. If you're a slower knitter or you have a full-time job and children and all that goes with that, then you could probably do it in about 2. So for my size, as I said, the body is meant to be 9 inches from the cast on edge, and I cast on 182 stitches and I joined it in the round. Remember, because like I told you, you have to figure out your size and then cast on the number of stitches individually for the front and for the back to create the split hem. But if you don't want to do that and you want to make it much easier on yourself, just cast on the total number of stitches, which in my case was 182 stitches. And then I knit 1 inch of 1x1 ribbing and then 9 inches of stockinette stitch. So that gave me a total of 10 inches from the cast on edge. If you want to leave your shirt cropped, stop there, move on to the bust portion of the shirt. But if you are somebody that prefers to have a shirt that doesn't sit right at your waist, so that if you lift your arms, it's, everything is out there, I would say add roughly 3 inches to the body in order to make it fit more of a relaxed fit, less of a cropped fit. So after you have finished your body, then from there you're going to work flat, which is where I said that you're definitely going to need to know how to knit as well as purl, because you'll be knitting one direction and then purling back. And here I'll insert some pictures of what you can see the garment looked like when I was knitting it flat back and forth for the individual panels. You will have 4 panels, 2 for the front and 2 for the back. Really super easy. You can see in the pictures here what they kind of look like. The decreases are to create the V and to create the armholes. Here's the armholes, and you see the decreasing, and then that's the decreasing for the bust, and there we go. And the pattern to create the decreases is really, really intuitive. Once you kind of get in a flow, they fly right off the needles. The decreases are done before you know it, and then you're down to your 8 stitches for your straps. When you get to the straps, trust the process, listen to the pattern. So I have a relatively short torso and I have narrow shoulders. So most things when I buy them, the straps are just that tiniest bit too long. So anything with a V-neck tends to come a little bit lower than I would like for it to. So I figured that one of the benefits of me being able to make garments was I would be able to control that and keep the V up, slightly higher, where I'm just more comfortable with it. However, I chose to trust the pattern, so trust the process when it comes to the straps, and follow what it says for the length of each side. For me, it ended up being perfect. It sits exactly where it's supposed to, even with me having a shorter torso and more narrow shoulders. So trust the process. Don't make them shorter, don't make them longer. You will have live stitches on both sides, so you could always put the garment on and then put safety pins right here on the shoulders and then put it on and see if you like the fit. Just keep in mind it's not going to be blocked, so that's going to obviously affect how it's going to look on you, but it'll at least give you a rough idea. So from there, after you have done your decreases to create your panels, and then you do your shoulder straps, from there, honestly, the only thing you have left to do is the 3-needle bind off. And you're supposed to put the garment so that turn it wrong side out so that the 2 right sides are together, and then you can do the 3-needle bind off, which was really, really easy. It has some give to it, which is great. And I think some of that give has to do with the fact that it's cotton, or the linen, or the bamboo. It's just got a bit more give than some other fabrics. So, but I chose to do my 3-needle bind off with it on the outside, so it just gives the garment a bit more of a textured look on the shoulders. And I will show you guys. See, so the drape is really nice for the fabric. And for my 3-needle bind off, it looks like this. I have a seam and it's on the outside of my shoulders. I feel like it just gave it a bit more of a utilitarian look versus, a perfectly smooth, seamless on the shoulders look. The 3-needle bind off is super, super easy. So if you've never done it before, there are tons of YouTube videos out there on how to do it. I will link a couple of down below. I hadn't done it in a while and I needed a refresher. And I think that's it, really. It was super easy to knit, and I really enjoyed it. I'm definitely going to make some more, but making this one, I definitely learned a few things, such as make the torso longer in order to get the fit that I want. Also, trust the process. just trust the process. Don't freak out if your yarn is twisted or if your stitches don't seem like they're relaxed enough. Yeah, just trust the process. All in all, this was a super fun knit. I will definitely be making some more. I am looking forward to also trying it in the other version of the pattern, which is the Tip Top Tank Fine, because I do have some fingering weight yarn and I'm going to give it a try for that as well. So yeah, I definitely recommend this pattern. It is definitely an advanced beginner pattern that can be modified to be beginner friendly. And I hope that this will give you some motivation and some courage to give garment making a try this summer. And like I said, I am doing a whole series on the different garments that I am making this summer. So I will do a video about each pattern, how they're made, the fibers that I used, and I'm trying a whole bunch of different stuff. I'm using silk, I'm using bamboo, I'm using cotton, I'm using linen, some blends. So yeah, I think that's it. That's everything that I wanted to say. I hope that you enjoyed this video and that you found it inspiring to make, if not your first garment, then some garments. If this is going to be your first garment, then go for it. I know you can definitely do it. This pattern will get you on your way. And with that said, I hope that you have an amazing rest of the week, and I will see you in the next video. Bye. Thanks for watching.